For some survivors, it is unfortunate that sooner or later their past abusers are going to try to re-enter their lives. Um, and it happens. Sometimes it happens. And in my case, it was Narc 1. And I want to continue talking about Narc 1. And now I'm going to talk about the phase in which we had an encounter which was very fast. And then later when she tried to re-enter my life. And I'm going to explain the tactics that she used with me. Um, every time I talk about tactics, I don't like the way I sound. It sounds so... Well, but there is no... It sounds so like, oh, I know tactics, blah, blah, blah. Pretentious, you know? For lack of a better name, I'm gonna call it tactics, but whatever. Um, okay, it is unfortunate that the abusers come back, but I'm not telling you this so that you feel afraid, because many times we are with the PTSD, complex PTSD, or the embitterment disorder, and um, right after the abuse of, oh my god, I'm gonna have to deal with this abuser again. Like, am I ever going to be free of this manipulation? But in my case with Narcon, it took many, many years. I was what? When I first got abused, I was 15. And then we had a very fast encounter when I was in my more than 25. So at least 10 years later, we had a very fast encounter, social encounter. And then some at least 5 years later, if I am correct with my math here, she tried to re-enter again. So let me talk about the first encounter. This first encounter happened when I was playing cards in the house of my fellow musician, uh, Célio, and Célio, his wife, his sister, a cousin of mine, and of course me. We played in a band, okay. So it was it's not rare that I went to their house so that we could play uh, and do so that we could get prepared for the gigs. And one of these, after we played, we would joke and play around, and my cousin, he brought a deck of cards so we would play. uh, it was a new game called Uno. I don't know if you're familiar with this game, Uno. um, and we were playing, and in one of these nights, and Narc 1, she lived out of my town, um, and this is how it is today. She lives very far away. And so she came. Suddenly she entered into the kitchen. We were playing in the kitchen. So she came in, and um, I didn't know how to feel a little at that moment. I just tried to show an outside demeanor of neutrality and calmness, and I didn't know about narcissistic abuse by then. And my Celius daughter, which she's my age, she was my age, not my age, 1 year or 2 years younger. She sat by my side here, and this narcissist sat on the table. Um, when there's a table, but somebody sits not on the sides, they sit here. So this the narc one sat here, and my cousin explained to her the game, and we started to play the game. But I noticed that I started to feel very embarrassed in that table. But these narcs, they know how to be charming, and they kind of play. At least narc one played a lot. Uh, so she kind of managed to create a very light tone, very light mood on that table. I tried to be as distant as I could. Um, don't talk too much, You don't have to talk too much with anyone during the game, fortunately. And then Anarch 1 started to play her game, which was very different from the game we were playing. She began to use a very strong eye contact. She looked a lot at me every chance she got to have to talk something on that table. She looked at me with fixed eyes. In that moment, I was very, very uncomfortable, very, and I even annoying. Later, I even felt more annoyed by that. Why did she do that? I didn't know. I couldn't explain why she maintained a very strong eye contact. But she maintained, and it was kind of very uncomfortable. Made me uncomfortable. But I kept showing an appearance of neutrality. And my friend who was sitting here by my side, she knew about the story, that Narco One had a romantic interest on me and stuff. And the funny thing is, the unspoken, the nonverbal language, There was a time when I looked at my friend here, Diane. Diane is her name, and she looked at me with an eye contact, very very fixed, too, and a very light smile, as if to say, "Look, she's looking at you. She's kind of flirting with you or something." That's what she said with that very strong eye contact. I don't know if I can reproduce that, but it was like this. I don't know how women do it, or how people do it. So even my friend who was sitting by my side realized that move, Narc One's move. And then when I was just getting you start to feel some kind of, without knowing, you start to like that. And suddenly, when I was starting to like that eye contact, sometimes you don't even realize. You don't realize, okay? It's very uh, overt tactics. It kind of bypasses your reasoning and goes straight to your limbic system, to your primitive system, and I started to like without knowing. Suddenly, Narc 1 does her move. She leaves the table, goes away to do something else. Because she was having fun, we were all having fun. But suddenly she leaves the table, goes away, and never returns. And I started to question myself, where is she? Where has she gone? She was kind of fun. I was uncomfortable, but I was capable of dealing with it. And where is she? I wish she would be back here. So you see how smart these narcissists are. They are dangerous, and we are not kidding. They can do things to your brain, to you, to your emotions that no movie can do, no song can do, no what? No politicians maybe. Uh, but this is crazy, you know. And what she did after many years of that I thought about it, I kind of began to understand what she did. You know, I came back to my home and said, well, I don't like this. Why did she look at me? Uh, there's something wrong there. And she was doing her game all over again with me. I don't like that. But I didn't understand the reasons behind why she did it. Now I kind of do, okay? So uh, the way I explain this to myself is like this. Her eye contact is contact. She gave me a lot of very strong eye contact for at least 10-15 minutes. And then she left the table. I would guess it was 15 minutes. Okay, it was contact. Contact is something which gives us pleasure. You know, gotta have contact with people. But her eye contact gave me more attention. She gave more attention to me through her eyes than she gave attention to other people. That meant I was special. So that made my brain feel like I was special. Danger there. Contact gives pleasure, so I also felt pleasure without even noticing it. You know, how they say, consciously noticing it. She gave me attention. Contact gave me pleasure. Uh, it was a sort of psychological love bombing on that table. It was very intense. Another thing I have to say is that attention, as I discovered in an audiobook, attention is energy. This is something I learned from a tape which was suggested to me by a survivor friend called Kri Couscous. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation. Again, I'm sorry if you're watching this. He suggested me that I listen to a meditation course by John Cabot. Let me see his name. John Kabat-Zinn, PhD. The name of the audiobook is Full Catastrophe Living. It's about meditation. It teaches about meditation and why it is good for us to practice it. He says that attention is energy. So I understood why narcissists, they suck our energy and they abandon us very drained. Because if attention is energy, the amount of attention that a narcissist requests of us is immense, as we all know, is extreme, you know, it's kind of abnormal. it has to be 24 hours a day for 3 months, 6 months, a year. And if attention is energy, okay, that explains why we feel so drained and completely without any energy by the end of narcissistic abuse. Okay, but her attention was feeding me with some kind of energy. I don't know which kind, okay? Then, see how smart Narc 1 was. She suddenly cut that amount of attention, she cut that energy, she cut the pleasure, she cut the feeling of that she was making me feel of being special. She removed that very suddenly. She left the table and went away. And that created the effect of longing, okay, on me. To the point, my friends, that I was longing for an enemy to come back. You see what happens. You see what they do. I was longing that she came back to the table to give me that feeling of pleasure and to give me that amount of attention again. And she was my enemy, okay? I didn't want to see her again by that time. Although I didn't know about narcissistic abuse, the experience I had with her was very traumatic. Yes, I didn't know that at the time, but it involved lots of humiliation and stress. But you see what she did. She made me want her. When she left the table, suddenly I was without that attention and I felt a very strong emptiness inside me. So, as I was saying, she created on me the desire to go and run after her, beg her, please come back to the table to play with us. So she just gave me only the amount of attention, the amount of love, if you call it, the amount of tenderness, if you call it, just enough so that she could stop, and the whole work was to be done by me, okay? Because I was the target of her game, of her mind game. So that's what she wanted, and I know that now. And then, my friend, that would be, this is it, you know? They just give you enough in the beginning, and the rest of the begging, of the running after the person for love and attention, it's all the rest of the begging has to be done by us. The begging, the humiliation. You know, she won't humiliate herself anymore. But if she was waiting for me to go and beg for her to come back, she was very wrong, because I never left the table. I stayed there and I didn't give a shit, you know, about her mind games. And afterwards, I told myself, oh, I should have left the table as soon as she came, and as soon as she started with that mind game, because I just lost my time being kind of uncomfortable. And I gave her the pleasure of playing with me, toying with my emotions. And if this ever happens to you, if some past abuser come back into your life casually, don't give him even a minute, okay? If you feel that somebody's starting to play with you, leave the place, you know? Go do something else, because your time will be better employed. Your emotions won't be toyed with. Do something better with your time. That's what. That's the mind game the narc one played with me. Okay, that's what how she made me feel. She forced me to feel these things with her mind games and with her predatory stare. Okay, and she had blue eyes. She was a kind of a blonde girl. She is narc one with blue eyes. I don't know if for the reasons because the blue eyes are kind of light. There's a light tone, light color. They seem even more penetrating. And so when you have a strong eye contact for 15-20 minutes and then that contact disappears, you feel kind of shock, and you kind of tell yourself, I want some more. It is not even you, it is some kind of primitive part of you that says, oh, that was good, I want some more. I want some more of that attention that created pleasure. I want that pleasure. I guess I'm gonna call her to come back. It happens. You can't control it if you're not familiar with narc abuse or if you don't have a very strong discipline of staying away from bad people. Well, even if you have that discipline like I did, because I didn't run after her, and I didn't saw her anymore that night. Okay, she went away and she stayed away, and I was very part of me was very happy because she got out of that place. But even though you don't want to go after the person, the mind game that she played with me created a very strong and powerful effect. Okay, they mess with you. They manage to mess with your insides, if you call it. Okay, that's why I told you leave the place, because you don't need to be toyed with. You put your defenses up and you feel uncomfortable, you feel tense, your emotions are going around, because of a strong eye contact, for example. So man, there's no peace. If I wanted peace with my friends that night, she kind of broke all the peace. It was not worth it to stay there playing with my friends while all this happened. During her eye contact on the table and after she left the table, which created a very strong emptiness and desire to feel that emptiness, and I felt kind of frustrated. Okay, she gave me a lot of love, a lot of attention. Of course, that's called love bombing. And then she cut that love bombing suddenly. She didn't say why she left the table. So my friends, Narc 1 knew what she was there for. I am certain of it. The method that they use, the details on their method is very, very, it says that they did this before, that these tactics worked in the past, and they know exactly what to do to force you to submit, to be the inferior one, to be the beggar, to force you to want them, to dominate. In fact, they know exactly what to do to control and to dominate me and you. And if we are uninformed and if we are weak in some way, I don't know what kind of weakness is that, we fall again in the trap. That was a setup. She was setting me a trap. Okay, and she knew that By doing that, the game that she did on that table, I, in her mind, I was going to go after her and beg for her to come back or to talk to her and to get further contact. She knew that the results of her actions on that night was going to be that. Okay? And it works because many men, and I'm going to talk about use the gender thing because that's how it is in this case, okay? She knows that many men fall for this. Many guys fall for that thing. Especially younger guys. Because you see the experience that the narcissists have during and their years of setting these traps that work, it's so uh, it's so big, and so many years of succeeding in employing these tactics that if they know that if they apply those tactics to younger people who know nothing about these traps, the younger people are very vulnerable to things, and the younger people are easier to control. Very easy to control. Okay. Well, this was the first encounter, after the no contact period. This thing happened 10 years later, and she was able to play a very strong mind game so that I could to try to dominate me again. I feel that I didn't say these things, the story, the way I wanted to say, but I hope you get the point. Okay? You're probably gonna be able to explain me even more what happened, especially the girls who are watching this, the women. And now, as I said, if I remember what I said, at least 5 years later, there was this no contact on Facebook. Okay, Facebook allows us to have contact with people from that we don't see um, in many years. Facebook is a very strong, powerful uh, weapon on the narcissist's hands. And after playing this mind game with me, trying to set this trap, 5 years later, Narc 1 tried to set another trap. Okay, so you see, they don't give up on you. They want to keep seducing you your whole life if you give them the opportunity to have contact with you. Um, First, it happened because I can't remember. I started. There was some pictures that those friends from from that family of musicians they were commenting on Facebook. Um, I really can't remember what triggered this, but I commented on the pictures because some of those friends of mine were at her house on that occasion in another state. So I commented on that, and she replied, "Oh, I remember one thing. Just before these comments on Facebook, there was another small amount of time that she saw me, and she said to me, uh, 'You didn't change and she meant physically. But I have a theory, because they don't change. Because Narc 1 and Narcissist, they don't change. They think we don't change either. So probably she meant that psychologically. She probably thought about it. She thinks, because they think they can dominate you their whole lives. So she probably thought to herself, well, he didn't change physically and maybe psychologically. Maybe I can toy with him again. Maybe I can recycle him, make and dominate him again, because he's still the same. But little do they know that we learn from our mistakes. We inform ourselves about their abuse, and we can run away and escape their traps. Okay, then let's go back to the Facebook thing. I I told her on Facebook, I don't know, and this was after Narc 2 uh, abandoned me, okay, discarded me. I accepted Narc 1's request for friendship on Facebook because I wanted to make Narc 2 jealous. As if I would say, well, you abandoned me. Look at how many beautiful women want to be my friend on Facebook. That kind of thing. And that's the explanation I was looking for in my memory. Why I re-established contact with Narc 1. Okay, because I accepted her friend request, she kind of thought, well, I might have a way with him again. And then there were some pictures, and I commented on those pictures, and I told her, well, tell them hello. There were some friends of mine in her house, and we did some jokes about they being away, and I don't remember now. So she said, oh well, okay, I'm gonna send hello. And she was okay. And that's the thing. They are amazingly well behaved, funny, charming. Whatever you ask them to do, they do. uh, well behaved, okay, polite. She was all this on Facebook and during those comments in the pictures. And two, I did a few posts on Facebook, and then the love bombing began. Okay, she liked all the posts, um, 3 or 4, I don't know, 2 or 3, I don't remember. Liked all the posts. Uh, she commented on, I won't say all of them, but the majority of the posts. And my posts were about the relationship, and the theme was around abuse. Okay, I made a post of a Second World War picture about removing a person from the memory, which is a form of a very grave insult. When you take a picture and later that person becomes a very undesired, and then you kind of remove the person. There are two people in the picture. Later in time, you remove the whole memory of the person and replace it with a lake or with the background, and it is if that person never existed. There is a name for that, I can't remember now. Uh, but it is a very insult, a very grave insult that you can do to somebody. It comes from the Roman times. Uh, Maybe if I look for it, I'm gonna put it in the description. Okay. So I said that, well, it would be amazing if we could do that with our memory. Okay, just erase the abusers and the people who hurt in our lives. And Narc One started to comment on that. She said, "Oh, I wish there was a way to erase the memories of the people who hurt us." And then I replied to her comment. And I said, I don't remember what I said, you know. But what I said was, there are ways to remove, you know, to throw away anything that reminds you of the person. I was talking about no contact, but I didn't use those terms, okay. And then she replied to that, and she asked the same question. No, she did a veiled question. She repeated her comment, her last comment. She said, well, maybe it is not enough. I wish there was some way that we could erase the memory and the hurts of the people who hurt us in the past. And the subtext of her message is, I'm really looking forward to know what you think about that, and I'm waiting for your reply. And you see, that was the bait that she threw me. And I'm going to talk about verbal baiting in online conversations in maybe my next video. And in part because of what I saw in the comments concerning the mandrake thing. Many comments in all the videos concerning that subject, okay. But she threw me the bait, a verbal bait, that she knew she wrote things in a way that she was sure that she was going to get a reply, okay. She was going to get an answer. She threw me a bait and she expected me to fall for it, you know, to take the bait. And do you think I replied to her annoying comment? I didn't. That was annoying. That turned me off, okay? Because you talk to the person, you explain, and the person doesn't understand, discounts your explanation, and asks the same thing again just to make you keep replying, so that she can ask you again, so that you reply again. She can ask you again, reply again. You understand what I'm talking about? This is the baiting, you know. She throws the bait, you take the bait, you get more and more contact, you get more and more involved with emotion, with an emotional discussion, and the contact, you know, starts to happen. That's what the narcissist knows they are doing to us. But they have to provoke you, and the bait is a provocation, okay? They are going to throw a provocation, something that engages your emotion and your interest, and your passions, something you're very passionate about. They throw you a bait in something that you're very passionate about because they know he's going to reply to this. He's going to say something about this. And if we are not aware, we reply. Okay? And then they win. They controlled you. Narc 1 controlled me in one reply because I replied. And then she threw me another bait. She was waiting for me to spend my time, waste my time responding, explaining all over again something I don't owe, I owe nobody no explanation. I don't have to explain myself to anybody in this world, okay? Unless we are in a jury, unless I am on a legal situation, I don't owe you no explanation, baby. I have the right to do my thing without explaining anything. And this, my friends, is called assertiveness, the great friend of survivors. I didn't take the bait. I didn't fall for her trap so that we could keep having contact. That's what they want. That you break no contact. And then, after I started to research about my hurt with narc 2, 2 months, 3 months after this card, I started to read about narcissism, and oh, then I saw that's what happened. That person was a narcissist. And then I said, wait a moment. This woman is a narcissist too. This woman is narc 1. Oh my God, I accepted her friend request on Facebook. We exchanged some comments. Oh my God, I'm giving her supply. She's trying to use me again. Oh, and then I was very angry at narc 2. And that anger went to narc 1 too, okay? So I said, what am I going to do? Now we're friends? Am I going to block her suddenly like this? And what if we meet? What am I going to tell her? Why do I blocked her? What if we see each other in person? What was going to be my face? With what kind of face I'm going to explain? And I said, and then a week having these thoughts, and I said, I don't owe her any explanation. She knows what she's doing. She knows what she did. She slandered my name 10 years ago. Okay? I don't have to explain anything. I have the right to change my mind. This is assertiveness, okay? I don't care if we see each other again. I don't owe her any explanation. I don't care. And even today, I never saw her again, okay? I don't give a shit. I blocked narc 1, and that's it. She's out of my Facebook. She's out of my life. Okay. What does she think about that? Who cares? The only thing that I care about is that I felt better. I feel free to be myself. I feel free because I don't owe explanations to anyone. I don't have to explain things. I don't have to be the teacher. I am free to be myself, and I don't owe any explanations for that. Because anyway, if I give explanations, that's not what they are after. It's all wasted information. What they are after is just to annoy me. They want to annoy me, make me waste my time, make me feel full of stress, and filled with hormones of stress, cortisol, adrenaline. I'm not gonna let that happen. They are not interested in your explanations for what you do, my friends, if you give them, or explanations for why you have the opinions that you have. They are not interested in that. They are interested that you still maintain yourself, that you keep engaged in their bullshit. That's what they are interested in. That was my encounter with my reconnection with Narc 1. 10 years, 15 years, doesn't matter. They are going to try to get into your life again, throwing baits, setting traps. Don't be afraid. You're going to be better, and you'll be able to fight that shit, okay? With all the information you have about narcissism, and set the firm boundaries of no contact, you will be free, you will be peaceful, you will be living a peaceful life. But that, mind you, some narcissists you can cut your contact, can cut your ties, and that will be it. But with some others, they are going to come back into your life again. And I want to end this thing with something that a friend of mine told me after I told her about the abuse of Narc 2. This friend of mine, she said, well, this woman abandoned you, discarded you, and humiliated you, but she still will come back in the future to ask for your help and for your friendship. I never forgot this. And you know this friend, this friend who told me this, she is a woman, she's a girl my age, and my friends, she has a few sociopathic tendencies. She's not a complete, she doesn't have a complete personality disorder, but she behaves sociopathically, okay? And I'm going to talk about her some other time. But she knows. She told me, she gave me precious information. She knows that Narc 2 might one day come back asking for my friendship again. And these people, they know what they're talking about. Either because they practice it, or because they are very aware of these tactics, of these patterns of behavior, this sociopathic, psychopathic, street, they say streetwise, or when you street smart, they are street smart. They know the tactics of the street. They've seen it many times. Well, I'm talking a lot here now. That's it.